Hi, I'm Tracy, and welcome to So Supportive. Today I am going to tell the story of how I found my sojo over Christmas break. Well, it's been an interesting few weeks, and I apologize that I've been a little absent, but holidays and chronic illness and all of those things make it a little difficult sometimes to get all of the things done that you need to get done. So, first things first, I want to show you the video that I shot right before Christmas. So, watch this clip and you'll see where my head was at. And then afterwards, I'm going to tell you how much I actually completed from my incredibly long list. Hey, sewing friends. Okay, we've got days until Christmas, and I'll give you an update on what's been going on. I'll put that at the end. But for all of you UFO people, you last minute sewists and quilters, you people with ADHD like me who really struggle with getting things done, this one is for you. We literally have days until Christmas. days to get things done, and it may mean late nights of sewing, or it may mean skipping it and getting a present instead. But I wanted to tell you this is what I've accomplished so far in a really terrible week that I'll tell you about at the end. But I've got a stack of quilt tops organized and ready to sew. I have a backing that's been quilted. I'm going to show you. Oh goodness, there was a little piece of fabric that got stuck to the batting, but you can see the pretty design. It's plaid, and I'm really excited about it. It's a little bit small for the quilt, so I've got to decide what I'm going to do for about an inch. If I'm just going to stitch a few lines myself by machine, or if I'm going to add another round of quilting to make sure it's perfect. I have got a list in my book that I've written out with all of the things that I want to get done that are wants, including I want to sew some dining scarves for my mother-in-law. She requested bibs, and I really just wanted to give her something that was a little easier to put on for her and maybe a little bit fashionable for when she goes out to eat. I would also like to sew some boxy bags to put gifts in, and so that people can use those as, toiletry bags in the future. And I think I would like to get one more gift done for, I'm just going to be very vague and say it's a family member. It's an easy sew. I think it should only take maybe 2 hours to sew. So the problem is that I've got to find that time. However, what my plan is to prioritize the most important things. So the most important things are to get the stockings done, which I think probably need, I'm going to say 3 to 4 hours. I could be underestimating that, but they're ready to go. They've got backs, they've got fronts. They just need the names embroidered on the cuffs and then sewn together, and that's it. And I don't even care if I sew them together and they aren't completely covered. That's where we're going. I'll probably just do the usual lining thing and tuck it inside. It'll be fine. And then on top of that, I think I want to get the dining scarves, at least one dining scarf done. And then I came across, see, I keep finding things to make. That's the problem. I found the cutest thing by Red Rooster. Is it Red Rooster at Blue Hill Farms? Is that her name? I'm going to put tag right here, and I'll tag the video literally right here so that you can go see it. But she called it a Tootsie Warmer, and basically it was a rice bag in a little pillowcase so that she could put it in under the covers of her bed so that her feet would be warm. And my mother-in-law is always cold. Like, her hands are always freezing, and so I just thought if I made her something like that, I could put it in the microwave and she could have it on her lap and keep her hands warm, or put it on her feet if her feet are cold. And so I'd also like to add that to the list as well. So, oh, and then I wanted to make some bowl cozies for my father-in-law. So those are all things that I think I have enough time to do, because they're just super easy things. But the issue is finding the time. So I now currently, when this video drops, I will have 3 days until guests arrive. I still have to get so the guest room sort of became the dumping ground, unfortunately. Has that ever happened to you, where you just sort of put things in there in the hopes that, you know, you'll go through it later, but it's out of the way? But the problem is that it's out of the way and then you don't have to look at it anymore. And so then it just becomes a mess. So I think we can probably clean that room up pretty easily tomorrow. And I just need to wash the bedding and get things ready for that. So I don't think that should take too long. However, we're planning to make cookie boxes. Like, we still need to make cookies. I've done 2. I've done like the cinnamon sugared pecans. I've done a big batch of a snack mix that I make that's kind of like a Chex Mix, but it's ranch seasoning instead. And I do that every year and put it in a big bowl so that everyone can snack on it as we're watching holiday movies. We've got to do gingerbread, dirty chai cookies, maybe red velvet crinkle cookies, and I want to do spritz. And we've got Mexican hot cocoa cookies already done and in the freezer, ready to bake off. So those are all the things that we've got to do. On top of that, I've got to work. Unfortunately, my YouTube isn't monetized yet, so I've got to work. And of course, the store is closed over the Christmas breaks between Christmas and New Year. So I've got to get all of the newsletters written by Wednesday. And I think I can do it, actually. I'm kind of ahead in that area. That's like the one place where I am like on it. I am ahead, and I feel like I can get all of that done, hopefully by Tuesday, even with last minute changes that might happen. So that's that. And so what are you sewing? Are you freaking out like I am? Please leave a comment below so that I don't feel alone, and so that everyone else reading the comments also doesn't feel alone, because good golly. And if I could turn the camera around, there is a pile. Because while I was looking, so I wanted to embroider a sweatshirt, to make a Christmas sweatshirt with a snow globe, and all I needed was some sequins. And I know I've got a box of sequins somewhere, but I didn't know where they could possibly be. And if maybe I had gotten rid of them when we moved, because I hadn't used the sequins and I didn't think I would need the sequins. So why was I keeping sequins? So I decided to rearrange a few things and get things a little better organized in here. And so I decided that for now, I'm going to keep my fabric in the bins that I've got, because they're organized by either collection or type of fabric. I've got an entire bin just of like Tula Pink. I've got a bin that's just pre-cuts, that kind of stuff. And it's easily organized and I can find it very quickly. And so I figured for now, I'm going to leave things like that. So in my rearranging things, I had to take coats out of the guest room and put them in the closet in here, because I've got a closet that actually is big enough for the coats, because we have an old house. And decided that I would move some other things over into the guest room. So I'm doing a rearrange. I find a box. What's in that box? It's entirely filled with more UFOs. I have a lot of UFOs. And granted, some of the UFOs are things like this. Actually, I think I've pulled it out once before and I found it. And I went, darn it, why didn't I finish this year? It's a little table runner that was a color option at work. I don't know which magazine this was in where it was a color option, but it was a color option for one of the magazines. And when this happened, if the person didn't want it back, or if we hired somebody to make the color option and we kept it, at the end of the year, we would give away the tops and things like that projects, different miscellaneous projects. And so I got that one because I thought, oh, that's pretty. I'll take that for a Christmas table runner. That would be nice. And plus I can practice my quilting on it and I won't have any attachment to it. So I got a bunch of little projects like that that I have zero attachment to, just so I could practice quilting. And I found a box with those, with a whole bunch of other things that I forgot about that I had started at some point and didn't finish. So as the new year starts, I'm going to be revisiting the whole UFO situation because good golly, there's a whole bunch more. And then I'm sad because I keep finding all the fun things that I've purchased that haven't even been touched yet that I just want to play with. So anyway, does anybody relate to that? Good golly. So that's where I am. And now I'm just going to give you a quick update to what's been going on in my past week. My mother-in-law was hospitalized last week. She was in the hospital for, about 5 days. And, well, maybe it was 4 days, but I digress. She went in Thursday night, got out Monday night. She's on a special diet now because she's still continuing to have some of the issues that she had that put her in the hospital in the first place. And over the weekend, we also had a family holiday gathering of just our relatives that live in the area, and which was lovely, but I was hoping that it would be postponed because she was in the hospital. And so we were running back and forth to the hospital and had all of the things that we wanted to get done for the holiday party over the weekend. I wanted to do cookie boxes for everyone, didn't get a chance to do that. But we did make some cookies. We made these Italian ricotta, like cookies that put sprinkles on top. They were quite nice. They were very fluffy. So we gave some of those, and I gave some of my homemade vanilla to everyone, and they all seemed to like it. Plus we just purchased some gifts instead of doing like all homemade gifts. And so then with that and the hospital and going back and forth and trying to clean and trying to get things organized and I got more stockings cut out and sorted with backings, and now I've got a plan for all of these. And so that was great. And then Tuesday came. I spent most of the day at the hospital on Monday. Tuesday came and I was exhausted. And then Wednesday came and I was in pain. And Thursday came and I was in pain. And so I've lost a few days. Today was the first day that I've actually felt pretty good and feeling like, I actually did some cleaning. And because Lord knows cleaning has to happen before we have guests as well. And the whole house sort of looked like Christmas exploded all over it. And so that's where I am. And I didn't want to leave another week where I didn't personally post a video. I know that I worked on a video last week and I collaborated, and so that's showing up on my page as a collaborator, but I didn't personally drop a video. And so I'm off schedule. We're just going with it because it's the holidays and we're going to just regroup in January. That's what we're going to do. Okay, I guess story time. You heard the story about all of the stress that I was under the week before Christmas with my mother being sick, family coming in early, holiday parties, all of that. And I had this incredibly long list of things to get done. So what did I actually complete? I'm really quite proud of myself because I was even giving you time frames of how long I thought tasks would take, and I actually overestimated the time. So I'm super proud of that because I am notoriously bad at figuring out how much time something is going to take me. But the one thing that I really got done was I completed 7 out of 9 stockings. Well, technically 6, but I had 7 done. So I will have an extra. And technically I do have until February to get the other 3 completed. What ended up happening was that I ordered fabric from Spoonflower for one of my kids. My youngest got jealous because Bryce was getting a special stocking.
and they wanted a special stocking. And then that started a whole thing of, well, what kind of stocking do I want? I'm not sure. So, and then two of the kids, my oldest daughter and her husband, couldn't make it for Christmas. They both work in hospitality and retail and were unable to get the time off that they needed for Christmas. So we decided we were going to postpone celebrating with them until late January or early February. And we still haven't even settled on a date yet, but it should be sometime around then. And at that time, I will complete the remaining stockings. And let me tell you that things went pretty well, like really went pretty well. The stockings are a little smaller than I would love. They were overflowing per usual. But what ended up happening was I loved using my AccuQuilt die. Still love the shape of that die. I think they came out great. I'm going to drop a photo in of all of the stockings. I decided to hang them on my stairs this year because even though we have fireplaces, we also have kittens. And I thought if I put them up high enough on the stairs, the kittens couldn't play with them and mess with them. And it's just one kitten. It's really just the last kitten. He is particularly kitten-like and playful. So he really, really likes to mess with things, especially things that are hanging on the fireplace. So I opted for that. Everybody was thrilled with their stocking. I spent 23rd of December on the stockings and I quilted this whole one piece. I ended up not using that backing that I had when my son got here. He picked from the fabrics he had picked from Spoonflower that I ordered, and one of the fabrics he really, really wanted for the back of his stocking. So I quilted it again and then promptly cut it out the wrong direction so that it was for the front. I'll show you because it's right here. But and I'm one of those people who I'm willing to show you all of my mistakes. Yeah, I cut it out the wrong direction. So this is the direction that all of the fronts of the stockings are going, and I should have put it down like this on the die and cut it out. And I had quilted it, in the hoop, and I actually had a little bit of trouble with this particular design. It was a little too large for what I wanted. Something was not quite right with the math. So what I ended up doing was I had enough fabric to do another panel, and I chose a smaller design that I was able to get all in one large hoop, and it was big enough to cut out. So chef's kiss, it worked out perfectly. Then I did all of the, sorry if you can hear the noise outside. I live in the city, and so it's just going to be truck noises and things like that going by. But other than that, I got everybody's names embroidered. I ended up, for my youngest, doing a little tag, and I just tacked it onto the extra stocking. They're going to want their own stocking done a little bit cool, a little goth, as it were, which I'm totally fine with. And so we're going to work on that one soon. So beyond that, I got 4 reversible dinner bibs done. The measurements for that, I'm going to drop the video. I'll post the video right here that shows you the pattern that I was using. And what she said was 9 inches by width of fabric. And somehow, miraculously, I found a stack of 1/4 yard pieces. And so they were perfectly 9 inches by width of fabric. And they were all from the same fabric line, so they were coordinated. So I picked the ones that I thought that she would like and that I could part with. The ones, like, there were a few that I wanted for myself, and that was fine. And so that gave me 8 pieces of fabric. So I made them reversible, and they came out great. She loved them. I did not put a closure on it, but I gave her a note so that she could look at it again And it told her that she could wear them while she was eating. If it needed a closure, that was fine. If she needs them longer, I will remake some for her. And so that's what I wrote in the note, and I explained to her. She's really just been so sick that I wrote it down so that she would remember or see it so that she could tell me if there were any issues with that. And so I got that done. I got the stockings done. I can now say that the other gift was an apron for my son because he is a chef. And he specifically asked me months ago for some sort of new design. He didn't want one that went around his neck, and he didn't want one that I had a crisscross in the back for the straps. And I came up with this wacky idea that what if we put magnets inside? And when I couldn't find the magnets that I have for purse making, I actually found a box of sew tights that I had. And so I ended up putting sew tights in the bag with, I made little pockets here so that he could put it in. Now, I show it to him on Christmas Day. He's super excited about it. But then it's not quite working. He's not quite sure how to line it up. And then he thought, I don't think this is going to go over well with me reaching in my shirt to while I'm cooking. And I went, oh, okay, so we're going to have to come up with a plan B. So ultimately, what I ended up doing before he left was I did one strap around the top with an adjustable D-ring over here situation. And I sent him home with a brand new package of snaps and a snap connector because chef coats actually have a slot in the back with a snap that you can run your apron string through. But he said that generally it still slides up and pulls on his neck. And what he wants to be able to do is to attach the snap to the snap that's on the back of the jacket so it hits back a little further. So fingers crossed that works, but otherwise it came out looking really beautiful. And I didn't grab a photo, so I'm going to have to see if I can get him to take a photo of it. And if he has taken one, I'll drop it here. Otherwise, I'll show you at least the photo of the dining scarves and the bib that I took. That isn't a great photo, but I was still trying to be secretive because it was right before Christmas. I used a French toweling from Moda for the apron, and I actually had time to make him a matching towel. And that took less than 2 hours to do, even with all the wacky things that I did. I used one of my aprons as a pattern. So there you go. And after that, on Christmas morning, because everyone didn't arrive until noon, I actually sewed up this here. It's a boxy bag from Pickle Pie Designs that you do in the hoop. And I used this fabulous vintage Alexander Henry fabric that I've had for years that has very handsome men on it. I made it for my brother-in-law as a gift, and he loved it. And the best part was that Christmas morning when he opened that and he said, "Where did you ever find something like this?" And I said, "I made it." And he goes, "Of course you made it." And just at that moment, my two kids were like, "And she made everyone stockings for Christmas too." And my father-in-law took his stocking in his hands and he looked at Paul's bag and he looked at his stocking and he just looked at me and said, "You are so talented." And my kids posted pictures of the stockings on their stories on Instagram and said how excited they were. And it just warmed my heart because you do all that work and sometimes it's really nice to actually have people love what you make. So I didn't get to the microwave bowls, which I still can make those for my father-in-law. And I didn't get to the Tootsie warmer for my mother-in-law, but I'm still going to make her one of those. But in the meantime, while I was working on this on my machine that I'm still figuring out all the settings on, and because I mean, it's pretty complex. It's a computer. Let's be real. It's a very complex sewing machine. And sometimes I'm still figuring out which stitches are right. And I actually was enjoying using the regular sewing foot and not the 1/4 inch foot because I figured out where the 1/4 inch line was on the foot itself, and I just really liked how it feeds through the machine. That's neither here nor there. We can talk about that another day. But anyway, I was loving my machine. And somewhere inside of me, I feel like I found that creative part of me that's been missing. I think a lot of you might be able to relate with me when I say that sometimes it's really difficult to find time to sew when you're chronically ill or when you have ADHD and have a million UFOs. It's hard to know where to start. And sometimes even an ADHD symptom is executive dysfunction, where you just have difficulty making decisions. And I oftentimes have difficulty making decisions of what I want to start, what I want to make, what I want to make next. And so it's been a part of me that's been missing for several years. And I'll even go back further, because really it's been missing since my sister passed away. My sister passed away in 2017, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever gone through. I'm going to try not to get upset, but she got cancer, and lung cancer, and she passed away. She passed away 4 years after she lost her husband to a horrible heart attack. And she was living in New Jersey and I was in Chicago, and it was really hard to support her the way I wanted to support her. And when she went to hospice, I was the one that was called to get permission to put her in hospice. And I tell you, that whole experience just sucked every ounce of creativity out of me. And all I could do was work my job from day to day. And any extra little sewing things that were for work was what got done, and really nothing more. And there's been a few baby quilts here and there and things like that, but it's been really hard to sort of find my joy in it again. And I bet some of you might be able to relate as well, because lots of things can suck the joy out of life for you. It can just be stressful situations or difficult family dynamics. But I'm not sure what shifted. I think honestly, it was really starting this YouTube project and focusing on finishing projects that are sitting here taking up space. They take up space not only in my sewing studio, but in my brain, and make me feel guilty for not finishing them, make me feel less than because I somehow can't finish all of these projects. Especially when you're sitting there and scrolling through Instagram or YouTube and you're seeing people just churn out quilt after quilt after quilt, and for some reason you can't even get one quilt done. It just saps the joy out of it. I guess it's that old expression, comparison is the thief of joy, right? Because even if we're not really trying to compare ourselves, somewhere we are. So all I can say is finishing things, especially small things, give you just such a sense of completion. It just makes you go, ah, oh, I did it. I did it. And I was a little bit overwhelmed with all the stockings, because then I started to wonder, like, I like these, but are other people going to like them? Are they going to want their stocking to look like this? And ultimately, I think they would have liked whatever I made, but I want them to have a little bit of something. You know, after I'm gone, the stocking will still be there, and I want them to still want to hang it, you know? So finishing these small projects really just, I felt so happy sitting at my sewing machine and sewing. And it wasn't that difficult. I wasn't struggling against my machine, which is wonderful in itself, because I've had that trouble in the past where, if you're really having trouble with your sewing machine and you can't get your 1/4 of an inch, or it's eating things, or the tension's off or something like that, it just makes it not much fun, right? So it was truly a joy to be able to finish projects and really not take very much time. If I was going to say how long things took, I would say the apron took less than 2 hours. The dining scarves, less than 2 hours. Those were already cut out, and I just had to sew them together. The stockings probably took me about 4 hours to finish, maybe 3, but no, let's say 4, because I didn't time myself, but I did have to remake that panel. And there was only one stocking where I did the usual. I did you connected the lining to the top of the stocking to make a long tube, and then stitched all the way around, leaving an opening at the bottom of the lining, and then turning it and tucking it inside. And the only mistake I made was on the last one, which was my stocking. I finished it, I did that part, and then I realized I forgot to put in the hanging ribbon. So, yeah. Oh well. I did not get to my sweatshirt that I wanted to embroider for Christmas, but I've decided that I'm going to embrace the 12 days of Christmas this year. Christmas is not over for me. Christmas Day was just the beginning. I'm still watching Christmas movies that I didn't get to finish before Christmas. I watched The Family Stone over the weekend, which is one of my favorites, and I cried because of Diane Keaton, but it's a wonderful movie. It's sad but happy at the same time, and funny and silly and very stressful, but it's got all of the feelings in it, and I love it. I watch it every year. And I would love to know how you all are feeling after Christmas. Did you get all the sewing done that you wanted to get done? Did you give up and just decide to buy stuff? Or what happened? Did you just decide ultimately you weren't going to make anything this year? Or are you one of those people who gets everything done early? I'm curious. So, as I wrap up this video talking about how I found my sojo and how happy I'm feeling, I can't wait. I can't wait until the new year. So next week, what we are going to tackle is I am going to go through all of those boxes that I found when I was looking for Christmas things and when I was cleaning up the guest room with all the coats and things like that. And I found, I think, 2 boxes with UFOs in it. I'm going to go through absolutely everything this week. I am going to add them to my UFO tracker. I might need to add a new page that sort of outlines all of the projects and maybe make something new to add to my tracker system. But what I plan to do is mark down everything, figure out where we're starting, and how I want to tackle 2026. Are you in with me? Because what I am planning is I want us to have plenty more sewing time. We're going to chip away at our UFOs. I'm learning all kinds of things that I want to share with you, and I hope that you'll share things that you're learning with me. And I cannot wait. So, you still have a few more days to download my UFO tracker. The link will be below for my Patreon. Go over to Patreon and sign up for a free account, and then you'll be able to download the PDF with the UFO tracker. You can print it off as much as you want. Use it for your own personal projects. Please share it with a friend. I'd love it if you point them to the UFO tracker if you like it, and to have them download it for free as well. And you'll just get occasional posts from me and what's going on and silly things that I find. But one of the things beyond the UFO work is I really want to focus a bit on things that help me continue to sew. I found a few things actually in the past few weeks that I'm really loving that I think might also help you if you were like me and have chronic illness or autoimmune disease and maybe can't cut so well, or maybe have difficulties in certain areas. And I think I've got quite a list that I could share with you. So I'll be sharing that throughout 2026 as well. So let's get some projects done next year. How about that? Happy New Year, and I will see you next week.